on to round 5. This round, halfway through, we're going to introduce a second color of yarn into the work so that we can start some overlay stitches and some tapestry crochet technique to get patterns into the single crochets. So we're not going to actually use that color this round, but halfway through we'll join it, hide it in the stitches for the second half of the round so that we can use it on the next one. So we're going to go through this entire round together, all 4 repeats. So first off, we're going to need 5 single crochet followed by an increase. That's the repeat all the way around. So right now, just using the same yarn we have, no changes, back loop only, we're going to do 5 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, followed by an increase. So that's one time through the repeat. We're going to do it again before we grab the brown yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase. So we're halfway through the round. Now we're just going to join in this brown yarn and hold it inside the stitches. We're not going to use it yet, but we will once we finish up this round. So to do that, here I'm going to grab my brown yarn and leaving, you know, a couple of inches here, I'm just going to hold it along the back of the work and start doing my single crochet stitches just around it so I can hold it inside the stitches. So if you've done that before to hide your tail ends when you're crocheting, that's the exact same technique, except we're not just hiding a tail, we're hiding the working yarn, and we're going to go switching back and forth. So again, here I'm going to hold it along the back edge of the work so that I've got, not a lot, but you know, a couple of inches, 2.5 inches or so of a tail after where my hook is right here. I'm going to go into the next stitch, the back loop only. Notice it's underneath the brown yarn. I'm going to yarn over and draw up a loop, so now that brown yarn is basically caught inside the stitch. Finish my single crochet, and there I'm joined where you can't see it. So now for the tail, I'm just going to fold the tail over so I'm holding both the working yarn and the tail for the brown, and I'm just going to hold both of them inside the stitches. So that's 1 single crochet. We need 5 and an increase. Here's 2. You notice I just go right around that yarn, just hold it here. When I insert my hook through the back loop, I make sure it goes underneath both those pieces of yarn. Just finish the single crochet like normal, and you end up hiding those yarns right in the work, so you can't really see it. So that's 3. We have 4, 5. Just make sure with each stitch that you capture both those pieces of yarn inside the stitch. After 5, we're going to do our increase. So 2 single crochet in the same one. That's 3 times through the repeat, so now we just have 1 more. 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you notice here that the tail end of the brown, I've only got a tiny little bit left. I can go ahead and drop that and just let it stay on the inside, because again, we're stuffing this, so I don't need to worry about a little bit hanging there. But I am going to keep this working brown yarn inside the stitches, because that one I want to keep with me. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's my 5th single crochet. So you notice that little bit, I didn't even bother putting it in the stitch anymore. Now is our increase, and these are the last 2 stitches for the round. So the first one is fine, just do it normal. Now the second one, because we want to start with the brown yarn next time, I'm going to start my single crochet. So again, I'm going to insert the hook in the back loop, yarn over, draw up a loop, and instead of yarning over and finishing with this variegated yarn, I'm going to drop that. I'm going to pick up the brown, and I'm going to finish the stitch with the brown. That way, when I start my next round, I'm just working with brown, and I'm hiding this one inside the stitches. So there we go. Round 5 is done. We're starting on round 6, where we'll be using the brown yarn. Round 6 is next. As we did from the end of the last round, we have actually switched to the brown yarn. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Now normally in tapestry crochet, especially if it's something where you're going to see the inside, like if it were bag or anything like that, you're actually going to want to hold this variegated yarn inside the stitches just like we did the brown a few seconds ago. But because we are actually going to be stuffing this, nobody's seeing the inside. If you want, you can just leave that variegated yarn, because we're not going to use it anywhere in this round, so we don't need to carry it with us. We're just going to pick it up at the end to use on the round after that. So we can just kind of leave it here and not bother holding it in your stitch. If you feel more comfortable just holding it in your stitches the whole time, that works fine too. Your choice. So for this, we're going to do 7 single crochet. 1, 2, back loop only, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And like I had mentioned before, I'm just out of yarn. Hold on, let me grab some more here. I just left this variegated yarn here. I didn't hold it in the stitches because I don't need it again until I get back here, where I can just pull it up and use it again. So since we're hiding the inside, I don't need to worry about carrying this. Other times we will have to carry them because we're going to go back and forth between the two. But this one, nothing. So we start with 7 single crochet. Now we're going to do an overlay stitch, where we're going to do a treble into the stitch 3 rounds down. So 1, 2, 3, this round right here, that's where we're going to go ahead and put the stitch in. So treble crochet means yarn over twice. You're going to follow your stitch you have, this next one, that's the one that came before, that's 2, 3, it's going to be this one. If you notice, it's actually the first round we did the back loop only. So we're going to grab that front loop from bottom to top with our hook, pull it out. We're going to now yarn over and draw up a loop and use that to finish the stitch. 1, 2, 3 parts, finishes the treble crochet, just like that. So often, I should say, when you do this, since we have this treble stitch here, we don't want that stitch back here. We would skip it to keep the number of stitches the same. But in this instance, we want an increase, meaning where I had 1 stitch, I want 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put my next single crochet right in there. And that's going to start the next repeat. So each repeat is 7 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, followed by a treble crochet overlay stitch. So again, we're going to look down 1, 2, 3 rounds, grab that guy, that front loop from the bottom up, pull up a loop, and now finish your treble crochet, all 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. That's the repeat. So we're going to have these brown, and actually it'll look this way once everything's done. We're going to have those brown overlay stitches on top of the work. So 7 single crochet starting right in the next stitch, followed by your treble crochet. We've done 2, you got 2 more to go. Finish that up and then we'll move on. Okay, well at this point I am almost done with my round number 6. I have finished, I have my 3 overlay stitches here. I have finished my 7 single crochet. Now it's a lot easier when you switch colors to tell, hey, I've finished a round because I've come back to the brown yarn. But right now we still need to remember to do the overlay that goes right here. So treble crochet, yarn over 3 times. I'm going to go down from this first stitch here, 1, 2, 3, grab that one and do the overlay stitch. Now we were just finishing out, we would do all 3 parts, but I want to switch to my other color for the next round. So I'm going to stop here while I still have 2 hoops or 2 loops on the hook. I always do that, I apologize. I'm going to drop my brown working yarn and I'm going to pick up this variegated yarn that we just left hanging out here since the round before. And I'm going to yarn over and draw up a loop to finish the stitch with that yarn instead. All right, so that's how we do that final overlay crochet, that treble crochet, and switch yarn at the same time. So now we're ready to begin round number 7. Okay, we're ready to start round number 7. To do this, in the last round I had finished, I had switched to the variegated yarn. I have the brown one here. You can in fact just carry that in all the stitches, or like we did last time, if you want to just leave it, make sure you don't leave it out here in the front. Just pull it back to your work. You can even kind of pin it if you want with your finger over here with your right hand, just to keep it out of the way. And now we can start the next round. So for this round, we're going to want 7 single crochet followed by an increase, and do that 4 times. So my next stitch is right here. 1, 2, 3, I have a hair here, sorry. 4, 5, 6, and here's 7. You notice those were the 7 single crochets from the last round. The next stitch, which is my increase, is going to go right into the treble. So that's the repeat. You're going to do another 7 single crochet followed by an increase, which is going to go into this one right here. Go ahead and finish that out. On the last stitch, you can leave it, the variegated yarn. We are going to change colors mid-round next time, but we're going to start the round with the same yarn we're working with here, so just let it go.